Hello, my name is Brittany Dawn Cook. I'm the Executive Director of the California State Library Foundation, the proud philanthropic partner of California State Library, and this is Dear California. Tonight, we focus on the women of the Black Panther Party. We are joined once again by our moderator, Gary Simon, and our speaker, Antonio Harvey, as well as a special guest, Miss Margot Brunson. And we look forward to hearing them speak. So without further ado, let's just jump right in, and I'll turn the mic over to them.
All right, well, thank you, Brittany Dawn, thank you. And thank you for hosting another segment of Dear California. We appreciate the efforts of the California Foundation and the direction that you're taking this, being more inclusive, including more of the cultures of California. So we commend you for that. Of course, we have our distinguished guest, Mr. Antonio Harvey, my partner, I should say, not the guest, my partner in the conversation, Mr. Harvey, and our distinguished guest, Ms. Margot Brunson, is with us tonight. Mr. Antonio is the historian for the Sacramento chapter of the Black Panther Party. If you all remember, our first conversation was more about the party itself, its founders of Huey B. Newton, Bobby Seale, founded in 1966, the brothers that started the Black Panther Party for self-defense. We seem to always forget about the self-defense component, but that was the justification for the founding of the Black Panther Party. We won't get into as much of the history of the party tonight as we want to hear from Ms. Brunson on the women of the Sacramento branches participation in the Black Panther Party. Antonio, of course, is the historian for that Sacramento branch. So Antonio, I want to hand it over to you, and then as well as maybe you can introduce Ms. Brunson as well, and then just start that conversation about the women of the Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Gary. And once again, thank you, Gary Simon and Brittany Dawn, for inviting us back for another segment of what is fabulous California State Library Foundation event. I enjoyed doing it the first time we did it when we spoke about the Black Panther Party in general, overall, with a little spice of the Sacramento branch Black Panther Party too. Once again, I am Antonio Ray Harvey. A lot of people out there call me Tony.
Black Panther Party.
The Black Panther Party, correct. And I am a journalist here in Sacramento. I've been living in Sacramento for about almost 33 years now. I'm originally from Illinois, and eventually I graduated from Sacramento State University in journalism with a minor in photography. And I do cover a lot of events around here in Sacramento, across the board: politics, public policy, a lot of sports, entertainment, social justice, city government, and once again, state politics, and that's what I do. I also am how would I say it? I am a student of the Sacramento region. I try my best to learn as much as I can about this part of Northern California. Not only just the gold rush, just the people, because there's so many different cultures and there's so many different backgrounds of people here. And throughout my career, I can tell you I've met a lot of people, I've interviewed a lot of people, but probably one of the most interesting people that I've met here, and we're really good friends today, and I honor her for her and her husband, who passed away, and she'll tell you a little bit more about him, for allowing me to be the historian for the Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party here in Sacramento. It is a very important history that a lot of people are not aware of it, maybe here in Sacramento, but not outside of Sacramento or the rest of the state. But they do have a serious history that should be etched in every history book around. And Margot is basically one of the co-founders of that event. She was basically a young woman at the time when she joined the party. But I can tell you, since I've been on her for almost 10 years, all the information and the knowledge that I have, I would not know as much about this particular segment in Sacramento history.
Did we get a freeze on Antonio?
Yeah.
Yep, got a little bit of a freeze there. Okay, Antonio was
So,
introducing Miss Brunson. Hopefully he'll unfreeze here. There he is.
there you
He's
go.
All
back.
right, sorry about that. So I don't know where I dropped off it though, but I do want to introduce Miss Margot Rose Brunson, who has been living in Sacramento all her life. Particularly, she was born and raised in Oak Park, California. She's the co-founder of the Sacramento branch Black Panther Party, and she is the focus of our discussion tonight, at least on the women's perspective.
Right.
And I met her a few years ago through one of the stories that I've been working on, which is a city council story. And she and her husband, well, we've been friends ever since. And I don't want to give too much of her background away as far as her bio. I'll let her speak about that. But tonight, you're going to hear from a great person, a person who has a great wealth of knowledge of the Sacramento branch Black Party, Panther Party here in Sacramento. So without further ado, I introduce to you Miss Margot Rose Brunson. How you doing this evening, Miss Margot Rose Brunson?
I'm doing fine. I want to thank you, everybody out there that's listening, watching. I want to thank everybody out there for joining in. It's a good topic, you know, especially for the younger generation. They need to know what's going on and what went on in the 60s. And because I like to ask them, why are you guys so mad? You're the ones that should have been mad.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad to join in, and I hope that I can, you know, share stuff with you that, you know, would help you and show you where you can find a lot of stuff about the women of the Black Panther Party. And I like to give homage to Huey. I'm sorry. I like to give homage to Huey and Bobby. And I like to tell all the women out there with children, every single time that you go to the store and get milk and butter and with wit, say thank you, Huey, and thank you, Bobby.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Well,
What's going on?
as I mentioned in the first segment, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, somebody is okay.
All right. As I mentioned in the first segment that happened a little over a month ago, the Black Panther Party, the Sacramento branch of the Black Panther Party, started in Sacramento in around April 1968. I could say a whole bunch of stuff, but I'll let Margot get into that. But what I found significant about this party here, which Omo Wally and I used to have discussions about, is that there were more women members than there were men. And trust me, they were doing everything to keep that organization running. So Margot, if you could introduce yourself, just a little bit about your background growing up in Oak Park, and how did you get into this particular social organization?
Okay, I'm gonna go fast because I'm so sorry I can't share everything in this segment. But first of all, we had a lot of trouble in Sacramento and people didn't know. Our school, Stanford Junior High School, if some of you out there can remember, Stanford Junior High School burnt down. I was in the 7th grade. They kept us out of school for a year. They tried to decide what they was going to do with you people. So what happened was we got separated. They bust us. We all got bused and to Peter Lassen. We went to school at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We got out of school about 6:30. Then they had the summer. We went back to Stanford. They built bungalows for us to be in the bungalows. We didn't care. We didn't have no air. We didn't have no heat. We didn't care. We were back home. And after that, the summer, they mailed us out notices saying we're going to be all separated again, all of us. I went to jail in the 9th grade. And because I felt like at that moment on the sidewalk, I was in the South. And I had never been in the South. And but I was always one that if you show me respect, I'll show you respect. We ran across some white girls and they wanted us to get off the sidewalk and let them pass. So we didn't. So a fight happened. I didn't know that they couldn't fight. That wasn't my fault. And we went to jail. They came to handcuffed us to the wrist.
Just back up a little bit about the school situation. You were going to a predominantly Black school in Oak Park that they shut down, and they put you to a school a little further out, not too far out in the suburb.
Peter Lasson, wherever that place is. Yeah, it's off of Stockton Boulevard, but yeah, I never took my eyes off of my mother. She was standing on the sidewalk, and I watched her till I couldn't see her no more. And then they were picking us off different corners where we lived at. Some of the kids had to walk to school, 14th Avenue. They had to walk to school. But yeah, you know, Sacramento got a history. It's nasty.
And was that something that led you to join the party? Tell me, how did you join the party? And tell me how you met the former Charles Brunson.
I joined the party because I got back we finally graduated. I went to Kit Carson, and I finally got to Sac High, and fighting. I got into a fight with a white girl. I got kicked out of school. You know, I don't know. It was just happening. It was just happening, and I get tired of them. And so I got into a fight, and they kicked me out of school. Let me show you how they use people. They wanted me to come back early because we had a powder puff football game. So I told Mama, no, I'm gonna come back. I'll come back. I'll come back early. But that's how they use people, you know. And Sacramento is real nasty. They hide stuff here. They got a lot of little secrets, you know. They got a lot of secrets here. I never liked the schools here.
Right. Antonio, you on mute.
Antonio's on mute.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, how did you become a member of the Sacramento branch Black Panther Party, Margot? How did that start?
My girlfriend Pepper, Sharon Pinckney, she was already in it. She came and got me. She said, "I think you should do this." And I said, "Do what?" And then on 2nd Avenue and 37th Street, there was this apartment, and the sisters on the picture, a couple of them lived there, and they was having a meeting, and I went over there, and I liked what they were saying, and I decided to join. You know.
Okay. How old were you at this time?
Oh man, when I joined, it was a few months before I was 17.
Okay. Now, at this time in Sacramento history, what was going on? What was one of the reasons why you joined the party? Because I understand that it was a lot of tension between the Black community and law enforcement here.
They were just harassing us out in Del Paso High School. That brother got shot. You know, it's a lot of stuff they don't bring up. You know, it's not like it's so much information we can't. Yeah, that's what they hide. And then Fred Foote and my husband was going across the park and saw the police chasing these two young girls, and so they got involved. You know, and the Black student unions. You know, we were all getting involved. You know, everybody said we was having conflict with the Black student union. Don't believe it. We weren't. Never. It never happened. You know, it never happened. And pretty soon, or hopefully tonight, some of the information that was given out to the public, I can correct that. But that never happened, you know. But watching the police, you know, jacking people up, stopping people, you know, it enforced the issue of us needing to patrol the police in our community. And that's what we did. That's exactly what we did.
Okay, now how many members was in the Sacramento branch version of the Black Panther Party, and how many women you believe that were members of the party at that time?
Well, then is like what the police would ask me. I would say in the Sacramento branch was about 5 million members. We had about 5 million members. It was about 75 women.
I'm sorry, that's the 75 women that was from Sacramento alone, right?
It was 75 women and about 5 million members. That's
okay.
How you answer a question, because we're bound and gagged to security. And
okay, now
I'm not going to tell you.
There's a famous photo out, and Brittany Don, if you could put up the photo of the women. They were all from Sacramento, but the photo was taken in a.
There they are.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, that's Sharon would turn around standing next to Bill Brent. Bill Brent is from the Oakland chapter. That's Mary Ann, Linda Hill, Dolores Henderson, Joyce Lee with the glasses, Paula, Joyce Means. She got a sister, the one with the glasses on. She got a twin sister, and Joyce Coles. On the end, she's deceased and one's biting her lip. You can hardly see her. That's Gloria Abernathy.
Okay. And what year was this taken in Oakland?
1968, and was taken at the Bobby Hutton Memorial Park. It was a rally, and they were standing up on top of a truck. And the picture was taken by Bill Prickle. He took all the pictures for the Black Panther Party, and him and his wife both deceased. And I guess he gave his pictures to his family members, whatever.
Now, what event was this? Was this Save Black Huey?
That was the Huey Newton. It was a Huey Newton Free Huey rally.
The Free Huey line. Okay. Now, folks who out there are listening, the reason why we posted that photo, this particular photo is hanging up in the National African American Museum in Washington, D.C.
Right.
It is a very iconic photo. And as you can see, it's been this way for like 53 years. And if you ever attend the museum in D.C., you will see this photo. This is one of the artifacts that's placed up in the photo. You are still friends with some of these women today, is that correct?
Yeah.
Margot?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. One of the women, she lives in Texas, and then there's Sharon Pickney, who you just mentioned, and then Miss Carly. She's still here. Talk about some of the women and the friendships that y'all had, and some of the things that y'all were doing within the party here in Sacramento.
You know what? Women organize. They just were organized, and we would sit and we would have classes together. We sold newspapers together. Some of us got taken off the street because the office had to function, and but we sold newspapers together. We discussed everything. We were comrades. We did everything together, and we ate together. We were always together. And we helped one another. When you with somebody all day like that, you're going to be really close to them. Now, we had our issues. We wasn't skipping down the sidewalk singing Kumbaya. We was different personalities. There were youngsters in the Black Panther Party. Some of the men, they were still in high school. We wouldn't let them in the office. They would get mad. So you got homework. You got stuff to do at your house. You get that done. You come back, sell some newspapers, and then we can talk. But they had things to do.
Right.
I didn't have time for all of that.
And this is mostly the women. Now,
Yes.
and you sold newspapers, and you also had a free breakfast program. Brittany Don, if you could post a photo of Miss Margot Brunson, along with Mark Team, also known as Akasanya Cambone. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's our free breakfast program. Now, if you look at the picture, it's saying that we feed kids, right? And what was so insulting to me was, instead of looking, we need to stop. We really need to stop. This picture is saying that we want to feed your kids, so bring your kids. I got a very disrespectful comment saying, well, who's the white girl? I didn't even know that. I'd never, of the 50 some years of this picture being out, I never noticed that white girl was standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And she lived in Oak Park on 8th Avenue.
Yeah, but you fed everyone. You fed everybody through this program, right?
We fed everybody. Fed everybody. We had boxes of food that we could not keep in there. We set them outside. Whoever come and pick them up, that's good. Take them away. We have to let people understand. We don't let kids starve. We're not gonna let anybody starve. Everybody is utilizing the WIC program. So that goes to show you that little girl came to eat.
Okay. Now, once again, I don't mean to cut you off. This photo here was taken on 4th Avenue in front of a church, the 4th Avenue Church. I forget what church that was, Margot, but that is a young Margot Brunson who's in that photo. And the other person is today a world-renowned artist by the name of Akasanya Cambone. Back then, his name was Mark Teamer. He was also a member of the party. Now,
he was our artist for the Sacramento branch.
And he was the one who designed the coloring book, the controversial coloring book as well. But where was the office in Oak Park?
I'm sorry?
The Sacramento branch, the party's branch in Oak Park, what was that located at?
On 35th, I think it was 25 something, right on 35th and 5th Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the middle. It was, you know where it was? It was right across from the baby store. down from Ben Franklin, across on the opposite side of the street from where Ben Franklin was,
Okay.
right in the middle of the community, where we could see everybody coming and going.
Now there was a particular event that happened at that office, but it started in William Land Park. Father's.
Okay, somebody's doing something.
Yeah, he's freezing every now and then. He's about to reference Ms. Brunson. In our last segment, or the first part of the series, there was a shooting that happened at, I think it was at the park over near Sacramento High School, William Land Park, I think it was. And the police accused the party of shooting at them, when in fact there was a clip showing that the bullets were coming toward the building, more so than the Black Panther Party shooting from their offices at the police. Antonio, is that what you're referencing on that?
Yes, and thank you for filling in for me on that, Gary, because that is correct. Margot, could you talk a little bit, just briefly, about that event that happened that day on Father's Day in 1969 or 68 or 69?
Oh man, you know, we didn't open up on Sundays. Me and Bobby, Omawali's brother, would go down there. We would count the money, get the papers ready, and I don't know. It just seemed like it was just weird. Everybody started trickling in the office. I said, "Y'all better get out of here. You're gonna make me mad. You got to go home, because I'm leaving. I'm going home, and I'm locking the office. So you're gonna get locked in." And then all of a sudden, here comes Charles. Here he comes, and William Land Park, everybody like to go to William Land Park. That's your choice, fine, no problem. Cynthia Oliphant was down there, and she was waiting for the man to pull out of the park. She had a radio on, and the police told her that they pulled up beside her, gave her a ticket for double parking, gave her a ticket for loud music. She tore it up, and then she pulled out and left. She said when she got on 12th Avenue to come toward 33rd, the police was behind her. And then they started breaking up and making a perimeter around the park. She came in there and told us that the police was following them and that they blocked off the park. That's what we found out. And that was around 3. 3 in the afternoon. So I never did get to go home. And then they came in there and they said that the police were shooting at them. And so they just, went and handled their business. And then everybody started coming down there. We were putting them in the office. We had a back door. We put them in the office and let them out the back door. But the police was in the alley shooting at us. So what happened was the neighbors cut their lights out so they couldn't see. So
now, now the police said you returned fire, or did they say that you started shooting? The group started shooting first.
There wasn't no bullet holes in the windows. We had windows, thin windows that you could walk up. If you lean on them, you'll go through it. We were in no position to defend that office, and that is not what we were going to do. That was not our intentions. And I'll tell everybody out there that gave those comments, if you guys wanted to defend that office, you should have brought your asses down there and defended it. We were not going to defend that office. It was no way we would have won.
Now, that was a particular, a significant historical point in Sacramento branch Black Panther Party history. And I do want to thank you for sharing that. And there's so much more that we could talk about that, because it was the relationship, the non-relationship between the law enforcement community and the Black community here in Sacramento. But eventually, the party, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, the party was only in operation for 2 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
And okay, why did it cease operation here in Sacramento?
I think what happened was after the office was raided, they decided they wanted to shut us down, and so they sent Omawali to Omawali worked with Bobby in Washington, D.C., but he was going around closing all the chapters down, because what he wanted, and branches, what they wanted him to do, they wanted everybody to come out to Oakland and support Bobby when he was running for city council. Something he was running for something at that time, and they wanted everybody to come out and support him. That's where Erica Huggins and John and everybody came from. And well, she's a dynamite sister. She really is, especially working with children. And so they all came out. That's where they came from, and a lot of them came from, you know, back east.
This all happened around what? April 1970?
Yeah.
When it was shut down? Okay. And when did the members start doing after that? 'Cause you told me that
Some of them continued on, like James, and James went to they all went to Richmond. They went to the Richmond chapter, and then some of them went to Oakland. They were just back and forth because that's what they did. When you were down there, you were selling papers, you either stayed in Richmond, sometimes you stayed in Oakland. It just depends on where you're going to do work at. You know, they were giving away food, so, you know, you would do that. Gloria Abernathy was there too. She went. And I didn't go. I decided not to. I was advised not to go.
Okay. Another thing that you had mentioned about Omawale, the former Charles Brunson, was he under surveillance by the FBI at this time? Because he did show me some Freedom of Information Act papers with his name on it that somebody was watching. Could you explain that to us?
They you know, that's what they do. They put people to watch. You know what? Let me tell you something interesting about the Black Panther Party. Just in general, they did not like us, and the only reason why they did not like the Black Panther Party had nothing, believe it or not, it had nothing to do with race. What it had to do with is J. Edgar Hoover's big, fat, lazy ass is sitting up there taking money. He's a capitalist. Capitalists don't want you to give nobody nothing free. When we started that breakfast program, that made them angry because we were doing something they should have been doing. The grades for the kids in Sacramento went up, especially at Bret Hart, okay? You know, they told us we was feeding kids too much food. We had to cut down because they were a little bit tired. We understand that. But that's why they didn't like us. We were a threat to the government because we were feeding people and giving away free food. It's just something you don't do. They had charged them 50 cents, they would have been happy.
Okay. Now, to your knowledge, you and what Ms. Brunson is talking about, J. Edgar Hoover was the head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation for many years, who started the COINTEL program, the Counterintelligence program, where they would put certain people under surveillance who they thought were promoting un-American activities.
Like feeding people.
Hoover started this program back in the 1900s with Marcus Garvey. That was his first target. But then there was other people like, you know, Billie Holiday. She was under watch. Okay, I even think Jackie Robinson. They were watching him. But do you have any knowledge that any of the members outside of Omawale, Charles Bronson, that was surveillance here in Sacramento?
You know, when I was living with my aunt, I lived on 43rd and 2nd Avenue, and I ran into that problem, and you know, my mother came over there. My mother was, oof. She knocked on the window, and he said he was waiting for somebody. So she said, "I'm gonna give you 5 minutes for that person to show up." So he just pulled off. It wasn't but the police. You know, sometimes you'll look up. We'd be in Oak Park. Somebody be sitting there. You know, if you're brave enough, a white boy be sitting there, and you know, wasn't nobody but the police. You know, the people in Oak Park didn't care. You know, it wasn't us, it was them. They, you know, it's like, we're having fun, we're happy, you know, like we're not supposed to have any fun, we're not supposed to be happy, you know. They had issues with us, but we kept them out of the community. We policed that community.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and wind this up because I know Gary has a few questions that we want to talk about, discuss a couple more things, and then we'll try to get a Q&A session in for the rest of the people who are viewing the segment. I also noticed, Margaret, you know, a lot of the people who left the Sacramento branch of the party, they went on to lead pretty good, decent lives. You yourself, you retired from the state, you're now retired and stuff. Talk about life after the party up until now.
My husband, when he of course is a He's in the Yoruba culture. He became an Eshu priest. That's West African. You can go online and look it up. It'll tell you everything about it. And he decided, he worked in the community in Miami because that's where he's from, in the Haitian community. He's done a lot since he's been in left the Black Panther Party. And I also too joined and got my left hand to EFA. So and I help in the community wherever we're needed. We help. People ask us to drum. We'll drum. We don't get paid, but I don't turn down nothing but my collar. But we're not doing it for that reason. But when you have a celebration, you're supposed to do libation and drum. And that's the way we feel. And my husband caught COVID in April the 13th, 2020 last year, and he didn't make it. He was on the 7th floor in ICU, and I was on the 14th floor. And but I got to go see him, and I just hold his memory and his legacy, and I hold it out there. And he was remarkable. He liked people, and he would do anything to help Black people. And every time you walk up to him, I don't care, he would give you something to leave with, and you'll always remember, but he'll never say the same thing to another person that he said to you.
Brittany Dawn, thank you for flashing that photo up of Margot and brother Omawale, the former Charles Brunson. That's my brother right there. He passed away April 13th of last year. He was one of the first COVID-19 cases, fatal cases here in Sacramento, and we missed him dearly. Matter of fact, I had just saw him in March. That was the last time I saw him at the African market. And then the next thing you know, he had departed us. But I love that man. And I want to thank you too, Margot. My last question, what do you think about the party when you look back on it today and the women who were members of the party?
I still see them struggling and fighting for the cause. Like Mumuma, is that his name? Amia, he did that surgery, and everybody backed him, and that was good, and it won't let him out. And but he got the heart surgery, and people backed him. They're still working, but I think what should happen is they should put those Panther Cubs to work. The only one really now is really out there that I can really see is that Fred Hampton Jr. But they should get those Panther Cubs out there and live out the legacy of the Black Panther Party. That's why they had the school, and that's why we call them Panther Cubs. They're a part of that legacy, and I think they should push them out there to get them out there to be more active.
And for clarification, the Panther Cubs were the young people who were born into the party at that time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
At that time period. And
all the members that had children. Yeah. Those are Panther Cubs.
All right.
And Bobby Seale is still alive. He had a birthday a couple of months ago.
And you're still friends with him, of course. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
And he still lives in the Bay Area. Okay.
Yeah.
And he and Omawale, Bobby Seals and Omawale used to go across the country and do speaking engagements together. Is that correct?
Yes. And they try to get me to go with them, but I'm not an airplane person. I'll buy one and throw it in the air. Yeah, they did. And then that COVID hit, and then because he has to be careful, because he's 83, 84. Yeah. So he has to be careful, but he still got that mind. It's still there,
Right. There's no doubt about that. And, the first time I ever met Bobby Seale was in your house, and that was probably one of the special things in my life to meet one of my heroes from back in that time. And he is, his mind is still sharp as a tack. He's still getting around.
Yeah.
Margot, I do want to, I know there's so much that we could talk about, and with the movement, with the women, Omawale, but I do want to thank you for sharing as much that you can. You know you can't talk about these things all in one 60-minute segment, but we're working with the California State Library Foundation to write a lot more of these stories and get them out there so people can understand, the significance of the party. And I want to thank you for allowing us to do that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Gary to see if there's anything that want to ask Margot at this time, or you want to just wait to the Q&A session?
Well, I wanted to follow up, Miss Margot. First of all, condolences on your husband. When I saw the picture, when Brittany put the picture up, I had met you years ago, you and your husband at the Roberts Family Development Center. There was some event going on there. And I had the opportunity to meet you and your husband several years ago. My sincere condolences on your husband.
Thank you.
But on now the Sacramento branch, you said that they lasted about they disbanded in 1970 or so, probably 2 years, a period. Who was the president of the Sacramento branch during that time? Who was the president?
We didn't have a president.
Oh, there was no president. Okay.
No, you had a chain of command, like you had a chairman, then you had the defense captain, you had a minister of education, you had the minister, in that aspect. And minister of defense would be the person that started, which would be my husband.
Okay. So the hierarchy was not, okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do it like,
right.
I don't know if you're familiar with the king in Africa. He doesn't like those titles, presidents and queens and kings. He doesn't like that, But no, we didn't have we didn't have presidents. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I understood. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So that was the same format that the original chapter was set up in. The different titles or roles, not so much titles but roles. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Now, when you talked about the programs that were happening, of course, the free breakfast program was one of the staples that the party started out with in Oakland. Did you all have any other programs that the original chapters had created, or did you adopt all of them, or just some of them?
We gave away free food. They had programs for seniors. They had the sickle cell anemia program in West Oakland. As a matter of fact, that clinic in West Oakland is still open. I went to a concert down there and I got sick, and I went over there and I got free medicine.
Okay.
Because it's still open. Those kind of things are viable. We need
Right.
Right. They would pick you up to take you to vote. And they had Saturday schools where they taught the kids on Saturdays. And the teachers don't want to admit, but that's how these kids was excelling, because we were teaching them how to read. When they're not in school, and the kids they were good. They were good.
Now, to your point, I mean that was the whole purpose of the party, was the self-reliance and being able to fend for ourselves and being self-reliant. And like you were saying, the reason why Hoover hated the programs or hated the party was because we were doing something basically to help ourselves. And you mentioned the capitalism part of it, but I think it was more to the fact that we were being self-reliant. The Black folks were trying to come up from underneath that rock, if you will, and that kind of created a anti self-sufficiency tone beginning with the government. So they started labeling people.
And you're exactly right, because if we are self-sufficient, we don't need nothing from them. We're not going to ask them for nothing. We're doing for ourselves. They didn't like that. They didn't like that. They were like, oh, you don't need to learn how to read. We'll read for it. That's that mindset they got. It's real scary.
Yeah. Self-sufficiency was the deal. Now let's talk about you mentioned it several times about the police harassing people and the police brutality, which again I state back to, that was one of the real reasons why the party was started, from what I was able to research and gather. The self-defense component with the police patrols, which was a big issue with the original party, the Oakland party in Oakland. But what I want to do, so we talked about the counterintelligence program. Antonio touched on it, which basically was a surveillance program. Nowadays, they have a new program which was enacted in 2017 called the Black Identity Extremist Program, which kind of does the same thing of surveilling those that they deem antagonistic to the American way and or potential extremists or terrorists. Um, what is it called? Black Lives Matter Party, or that movement has been under surveillance, just like the former Panthers were. Are you familiar with that Black Extremist Identity Program currently happening
Yeah,
now?
because they did that to they did that to a friend of mine that was dealing with the Black Lives Matter, Patricia Hill, and they gave her a record. They gave her an FBI file.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they
And
sure did. They gave her a whole FBI file.
Yeah, that's happening today. I mean,
Yes.
as we were, as I was, me and Antonio were researching for the first part of the series, we discussed that and found out that, you go to the marches now, you maybe end up with a file. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple and scary, actually.
Oh, they're doing it. They're doing it. They're taking
Exactly.
Yeah, they're taking names. Which brings up the point about the insurrection that happened on January 6th. Now, when today, I guess today or the day before, they're talking about not pursuing an investigation into the insurrection that happened at the state capitol. Any thoughts on that, Miss Margot?
Oh, actually, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth about that. Okay, that's not our building. I don't care.
Okay.
That's what they get. That man stood up there and said, "Follow me down there. You meet me down there." And they all heard him. My TV is the same as everybody else, and he didn't go. He was supposed to be down there. Does that mean they wouldn't have done it? I don't care. That's what they get. They're getting exactly what they get. We have problems of our own. We have problems of our own. And every single time we try to address our problems, here they come. And it makes ours less and less important. But, I don't really have anything to say. That's what they get. I don't care. I honestly don't care. That's not my building. That doesn't belong to us because Biden's in there. It didn't belong to us because Obama was there. And the only reason why he was there and he got elected because he was Black. He didn't get to do nothing.
Right. Understood. Now tell me this, Ms. Margaret, do you think it's time for us to start us another Black Panther Party? Is it time for us to get back to where we were, or as a nation, or would that be seen as too divisive? Or just what do you think about that? I saw someone mention the legacy kids and talked about the legacy kids.
I think we need to organize the youth, the young women, because I am working with some of the organizations, and I am helping Jordan with some information that he can share with his class. We need to organize the youth. There's no sense in saying I have an organization of youth and I'm talking for them. I don't want to hear you talk. I've heard you. I've been there. I've done that. I'm not marching no more. We need to hear from the youth. We need to help them organize. And because their minds are racing, they're open, it's clear, they're ready. We need to organize the youth and stop talking for them. Stop calling them names and thugs and, hey, thugs comes in every side. Look at the Capitol's full of thugs. You don't think there are thugs down there? I do.
Hey, those are the real thugs right there. Real thugs.
Believe it, they're thugs with money.
Right.
But I think we need to organize and we need to work with these kids and find out what it is that they're really looking for. Because in all of these kids, I don't see basketball players. I don't see football players. I see artists. Since the pandemic, I have seen so many young artists and book writers, writing books. I've got 2 books in my house right now from little female artists. So we need to organize our youth. We really do. And we need to pay attention. I know everybody saw that man trying to take that little girl and she fought for her life. We need to organize these kids.
Right. That was scary. That was a very scary thought. And speaking of the youth, and I read your article, first of all, nice article, Antonio, that you did with Ms. Margot. Very nice article, Ms. Margot. You say you want to get back out and go to the park in one of these festivals. We've got a festival coming up called Juneteenth on June 19th. I'm going to throw this plug in there. So we definitely want you to come out to June 19th at William Land Park. And speaking of art and all those things, Shirley Sanders is a woman that has been on the Juneteenth committee, and this year she has led up what we're calling the Juneteenth art competition or contest. So we're gonna, and that's our way of kind of tapping into that young component. We took it down to about 6th grade just to get them in ways of expression, but we made it a Juneteenth themed art contest. So it's not just an art contest, so just to get them on that historical as well as expression of their feelings and so forth. So the youth, I think, are important, and we always try to include the youth. So thank you for what you're doing, what you've done, Miss Margot. I think we've got some Q&A. Some folks are going to ask you some more questions. Brittany, Dawn, if we're ready for that. But thank you, Miss Margot, and we're going to see what kind of questions we've got for you coming up here.
Thank you for having me on here. It was a pleasure talking to you again. And I hope maybe sometime you can come to the 24th Street Market. We can go to the Obama Room and set up some plans on, I can bring some paperwork that'll help you, set up different things, topics to talk about, because I do have, yeah, okay.
All right, we'll do that. And I go there every now and then. I don't go every first and third Saturday, but I go every now and then.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Margot. That was fascinating. And I honestly, as soon as I saw your article, I said, I've been dying to go to that market, and I marked it in my calendar so that I go as soon as possible, because I've heard so much about it that I finally want to see it in person.
Right. On the 27th, they're having a 29th, they're having a barbecue war. They have a competition.
Okay. Yeah, that is the next thing.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to take a moment to share where that is and let people know in case they don't?
24th and Florida, every first and third Saturday of the month. That is what Ms. Margot was talking about. It is actually called the African Market. Bring money, spend money. But it's a lot of things going on there.
Right by Mia Market.
What's that?
It's right by Mia Market, right behind the across from the bingo hall.
In the bingo hall in McDonald's, right?
Yeah, and, behind McDonald's.
Senator McDaniel just opened up a museum there, which Margot spends a lot of time down there anyway. Come out and check out the museum.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to share that. Excuse me as I clear my throat. We did have a couple questions that came in. If you guys want to take some time to do some Q&A.
Okay.
Dee Hemingway had a question that falls right in line with what Gary was asking. Do you think the Black Panther Party can happen in this day and time? And thank you for your service to the party.
I think it can, but they would probably have to change for here. They would probably have to change the format a little bit. I don't think we have too much. You see, we have a lot going on. I don't know if people noticing. Black people are still shooting. We're still having shooting, and that's an issue all by itself. And we got to clear that up some kind of way. And to start an organization of that kind right now, you would need a lot of organization. You would need a lot. It would take a lot of organization. Not to say it can't be done, but it would take a lot of organization, because a lot of people are not believing nothing no more. The pandemic got everybody paranoid. So it would take a lot of organization. But I'm telling you, your best out is to deal with these kids, the youth.
Right.
College students, high school. Yeah.
Okay.
So on that vein, are there any programs that people can currently get involved with, even with COVID still going on?
Oh, Antonio, what is that brother's name? Jordan. He's got he has an after-school program. There's a lot of information on Facebook.
Yeah, there's I know the Sierra Health Foundation, the component they call the center. They're involved in a lot of the youth-related programming under one big umbrella. So they partner with a lot of groups. So just the Sierra Health Foundation, called the Center, is a component where they partner with a lot of school organizations, a lot of youth-focused organizations.
Yeah, they got a lot of people involved in the community. They're forever learners. They teach it. That one of the good things that they're teaching kids how to organize, but they're teaching them about respecting themselves and doing for others in the community. The center does a whole lot of things, as well as the Sierra Health Foundation, and they're teaching them business entrepreneurship. That is a good thing. Yes, and you can talk about Shona McDaniel because she does a lot for the youth too.
Right. She's the one that's the curator of the Sojourner Truth Museum in the African market, and she has a group of kids, a group of girls. What they did was they had a program, and what they do is on Fridays they bring seniors food that they have, and they prepare it up there. You could go up there and pick it up, and everybody was assigned a student. And my student was Mary. She would call me up and say, "What do I need?" They were bringing us whatever we need. They went shopping for us.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah,
that's fantastic. So Allegra Taylor has made a couple comments in the chat that I just want to touch on. First off, she is a feline cub on deck and Sacramento, boots on the ground daily. She also shared city pop-ups, which is, I think, one of the names to the things you guys were discussing. And then she also wrote Village Rite of Passage and provided a email address for them. And then Leah, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, asked if you could specify which Jordan you're referring to. Now, if you don't want to disclose that to the whole audience, we can privately chat with her in the chat box. But if you feel free disclosing that, please go ahead.
Well, that was just something I was offering, so that his disclosing his last name is not important.
Okay.
That was just something but she did a lot of research. That's good, because that's what you have to do. Give people information where they can go online. We are lazy. We don't want to go online. We want other people to do it for us. No, we know what you're saying, but we don't know what your mind is looking for. So you have to, that's good. She's putting that research out there for people to look. But it's really, we were talking about the COINTEL.
Right.
So no, I'm not gonna give his last name.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure you do not have to say that.
It's funny that you
hear me earlier. I said there was 5 million members.
I've tried to avoid a lot of things that center around that whole program. So thank you for sharing that part, Margot. We know we don't want to expose anybody out there, but
I'm not.
I also do want to thank Allegra and Leah Shink for participating too, because they do some great work in this community too, as Black people. So let me bring that up.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want anybody out there to think I'm mad. It's just I don't think you were here earlier, or you didn't hear me when I said we have 5 million members in Sacramento.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I caught that. I had to think about that for a minute, Ms. Margot.
I was thinking maybe it was nationwide, but I understand where you're going from.
Yeah, I get it.
There's one thing that I learned about the Black Panther members, whether it's from Sacramento, Oakland, LA. Okay, they still talk like it's the 1960s, and that's a good thing.
I ain't telling nothing. You didn't hear that from me? I'm Miss Benita.
Well, if you guys do have any resources to share, please email them with me. And once again, we'll host them on our website so they're easy for people to access. We still have resources from the first version of this conversation, which is available on our YouTube channel. I put a link in the chat at the top. And if you want any of those resources, they'll be available on the California State Library Foundation website, which I also just put in the chat for your convenience. Now, if there's any more questions, now's the time to get them in. We've got about 6 minutes left. If there's no other questions, if you guys have any closing remarks or anything before I close things out, please go ahead.
Well, again, Ms. Margot, I thank you for what you've done and what you're continuing to do. Specifically, thank you for being here with us tonight, sharing this information on the Sacramento branch. Antonio, of course, we appreciate you and all the work that you've been doing in this community for the last 30, 40 years. But I just want to thank Don, you also, for hosting this, putting this together, because it's needed and it's warranted, and we need to do more of it. And I appreciate the direction that you're taking that foundation. That's just my thanks.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It actually looks like we've got one more question that slipped in before we closed out. Kimberly Waller asked, what was it like being a woman in the party? Were there particular male-female dynamics?
You know what? Actually, when you get men and you have a lot of women around you, you tend to like try to push your weight but that it didn't work. What it was like the men, it was like taking care of a baby. You had to tell them, listen, I give you 25 newspapers, don't come back in my face with 12, please. So I punish them. They had this one brother, he was I loved him, and he got murdered, Sam Napier. He told me, he said, make them sell more newspapers. We worked hard in that party. And you have to understand, when you join the Black Panther Party, you're going to have conflict. But if you stick to what you believe in and what you feel, and remember, when you're out there, you got a comrade with you, you have to learn to protect each other. So it was like, it wasn't scary to me, because when they raided our office, I was the only female from the Black Panther Party in there, because it was a Sunday. So, but I was just, in my mind, I was saying, oh, Lord, this is Father's Day. What is wrong with you people? Go home and stop shooting at people, And because it was crazy. But, if that's what you wanted to do, we kept each other safe as we could, okay? But if that's what you wanted to do, if that's how you felt like your contribution back to the community, I would have told you go for it. I would have said just go for it. I mean,
we have. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
We didn't handcuff you. If you wanted to leave, we would tell you. If we felt like you worth the time that you could not hang in being a member of the Black Panther Party, we would talk to you about helping with the breakfast program, and other things, giving away free food. But we don't reject people. We didn't reject anybody except for white people. Go organize your people. I ain't got time.
We have a couple more comments. Allegra said, much love and respect. Thank you, Elder Mother Margot.
You're welcome.
D. Hemingway said, thank you so much for this program. But we have one more question from Kimberly Waller, which is, why don't we hear more about women in the party outside of Angela Davis? Women are invisible. And thank you.
Okay, let me do this. So everybody out there can know. Write this down. Angela Davis was never a Black Panther. Angela Davis never said she was a Panther. Angela Davis was a communist, and she admits to it. She's a communist today. And I don't know how many people know, when Angela Davis went on trial, she did not have an attorney. She defended herself. He was just sitting in the chair. She defended herself. She was never a Panther. She wasn't. Angela Davis is popular because of what she did and what happened to her, and with Jonathan Jackson and his brother, George, but no, she was, she's a good woman to talk about. She did a lot of things. She went to jail in San Francisco, and that's not any fun, but she wasn't never a Panther. She's a communist now. She didn't have a relationship with George Jackson. She likes women. So, all this old silly stuff that they put out there is just to convict. That's all they look for, is conviction. But you have to go back and look at her trial. You can find it. She defended herself and she got off. She didn't have a lawyer.
Yep.
Kimberly said, I stand corrected. educate us. And Aletta Tor wrote, Panther women need to be discussed. I
Alita
agree.
Torre, like Kwame Torre. You said my name.
Thank you.
Wrong. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
I'm not trying to correct nobody, believe me. I'm just giving out information so that you could go and you could look it up. I think that's dynamic to see a Black woman under the circumstances defend herself, because she was she was getting ready. You wouldn't have been able to know who she was because she was gonna go to prison for real. But she defended herself because she knew she was she was a teacher, a professor, you know. But it's good, you know. Hey, let's get out in the park and give a concert, not a concert, because I get tired of mixing, you know, politics and music and all of that. Because once you start dancing, you get tired, you don't want to hear nothing. So it needs to be in a platform where everybody everybody can hear and know about it.
Oh, it seems I have missed a question. Aletta, you want to remind me where you're?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll ask it. The question is, we know that some of us, most of us anyway, know that Angela Davis was not on the Panthers. What the question is what happened, where are, and what can you talk about the Panther woman? We want to talk about the Panther woman.
Which one?
All the Panther women.
Well, what do you want to know? See, I don't. I'm not really understanding what you want to know. You said you want to talk about the Panther women.
I think she wants to know about the other women overall, since we hear other names like Elaine Brown and Angela Davis. She wants to know how can we hear more stories like yours, Marco? I believe that's what she's trying to convey.
I think if you know what, if I knew where you were, I'd let you read Elaine Brown's book. But you could go online.
I already read it.
Okay, what did you think about it?
It's not what I'm asking about. Those are personalities. They were in the Panther, nothing against them, right? There is a mural right now on the Oakland House on Dr. Huey Newton's street.
I've seen it.
And so those names, when we say call her name, I'm a Black woman, right? And so for me, I'm not just trying to talk about Angela Davis and the sisters that we can read their books for, but there is, I mean, I have my own hypothesis, right? And I can talk about that, but I wanted you to possibly talk about where are the Black women that were in the Panther movement and hearing more about that, if that makes sense.
Okay, that does make sense, ma'am, and I appreciate the question. The Panther women, they are here in Sacramento. One of them is in Crum, Texas. Some of them have deceased. See, you know what? Can I explain something to you? This is what we try to avoid. I try to get them to come on so they can talk. Okay, they have their own reasons. That's between them. But I don't like telling somebody else's story. I can involve people in my story, but I'm not going to tell their story on how they felt when they were in the Black Panther Party. That's like me getting into their minds. So, I mean, they're here in Sacramento. They've retired. I'll be 71 next month. You know, I suffer with arthritis. So, but they're here in Sacramento.
Now, Antonio, you had mentioned a reunion of sorts that happened at the Brick House with the women of the Black Panther Party. Is that right? Is that something that happened before?
Oh, yes. It was that event which was staged with Barbara Range and the artist
Milton Goins.
Right. That it was standing room only. And practically all the ones, the living ones, I think a couple came in from the VA. They came down to attend that event. And I'm telling you, the room just lit up. The energy was just, it was full. It was great. It was perfect. And I'll never forget the night. I do have some photos of that. I'm trying to locate them right now. But Margot was part of that panel. And let me tell you, the same questions that a lot of these women right now are asking now, the same one were posed at that event. But that happened, what, 2016? Yes, because it happened 2 years before the 50th year anniversary of the Sacramento branch. BPP. But that was an amazing event, and yeah, most of the women who were a part of it were able to come in and share their stories. Like Margo said, they should be the ones come out and talk about what they did. And let's see, Sharon Pickney, what's her name?
Marianne. It was Sharon, Marianne. Excuse me, Sharon, Marianne.
Yeah, Marianne, yes. They had some great stories. With Miss Mary, I think she joined the party because she was rebelled against her family because she wanted to be a part of something that was about the Black community. And she had long straight hair, so she fizzed it up so she could just have an afro, so she can be about part of the movement. Those are the type of stories that are out there. But once again, like Margo said, those stories should be told by those women and those women alone. So hopefully, if we're able to.
Right.
We have one last question. Everyone's sharing their knowledge. This will be the last question, and then we're going to finish for the evening. Shirley Sanders asks, what things can we impart in our youth to help them become leaders so that they don't become complacent about the issues happening in our communities?
Get involved. Get involved.
Yeah.
All power to the people.
Get involved.
They got this brother, his last name is Poole. He got a group of boys, he teaching them how to fish.
Right.
And they got Dana, she got the women and the girls and boys club, and they do events, they watch videos. There's a lot, and I hate to mention Facebook, but they're on Facebook. What I do when I catch a poster, it's about a youth event, or if it's about something going on, I always share it so that everybody can see it. And that's the best way you could do now, because everything is social media. You can't get them off of it. Right. I don't remember phone numbers no more.
The center has a great youth leadership program over at the center as part of Sierra Health Foundation. Like I say, they've got 1 million programs over there.
No, but if we could figure out a way to do a platform like this where more people can get involved, and it would be longer. Hey, I might be able to bring somebody or drag them, but there's a lot of pictures and stuff I'd like to share. But I don't want anybody to get offended. It's just I'm not going to just go back because somebody might not be here. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want nobody's name mentioned. I'll mention a name. You don't know if I'm telling the truth or not. But what I'm saying is those are my comrades, and I'm going to protect them like I did 50 years ago. That's just who I am.
Understood.
We appreciate that. Well, Margo, thank you for imparting all of this knowledge. I hope we can work together in the future to discuss more of these stories and more of this history, and maybe even display some of those pictures in our publication, The Bulletin. It's full of stories that are left untold and knowledge that can be imparted on the California State Library collections for future generations to come, which is also important so that these histories are preserved for our future generations. That's the only way we can learn. I really have appreciated all of you for this evening. Thank you all for being a part of this. Thank you all for joining us. Again, the California State Library Foundation is able to put these events on due to our members and contributors, and we couldn't be more grateful. It's these discussions that will really impart more knowledge on our generations to come. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, all three of you. And I guess this will conclude, Dear California, the women of the Black Panther Party. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brittany, Dawn. All right.
Thank you all for inviting me.
Good night.
Yes,
Good night.
once again, thank you. Thank you for everyone who came out to listen to this discussion.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Okay, so what do I do?